Welcome to the Honest Report. There's new evidence in 9/11 truth. Islamic extremists are behind it. All the truth.
To Al-Qaeda. The resignation after the morning after President Obama said
I've got an urgent call from David Letterman. I got to appear on the show tonight. Obama was fundraising in Las Vegas. Meanwhile, our embassies fell around the world. Islamic extremism, Islamic terrorism spread.
Get used to Sunday normal. Better leave the rock alone. Hey, Sunday, leave the rock alone. If the Tower Rose, it's just another bump in the road. God impose, you're just another bump in the road.
Diversity is our strength. To believe such destructive foolishness and any frightening. Conditioning them for life in the new world order. And this diversity is our strength. Brainwashing campaigns conditioning them for life in the new world order. It is that the public will believe anything if they believe that others do. That's the living fact. Conditioning them in the new world order. 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 And the more blacks and browns and yellows we have in America, the stronger and more prosperous we'll be. To believe such destructive foolishness, not any frightening.
Those at the helm are not the best leaders, that those at the helm are better butchers than they are brain cells. Military destroys the U.S. military at every turn, downsizes the military, puts the military down, uses the military as a pawn. You go into every issue. It transforms it in a way you could never imagine. We have the smallest Navy since World War I. Our GDP is $15 trillion, but our debt is quite a bit high, isn't it? The fact of the matter is the man is a classic tax and spend liberal. That would be bad enough if it was...
Teaching the idea of tyranny. So that even though we do already have a de facto dictatorship, and God forbid he gets reelected because then it won't be de facto, it will be an actual dictatorship. But I think the American mind has a hard time, Michael, processing the idea that this could actually happen here. And yet it is happening here. And it reminds me so much when you look at the footage in the 1930s of Germany. And the German people are just kind of walking around, including German Jews, walking around thinking, oh, well, you know, this is kind of bad, but how could it get worse? And, we're in a similar situation here where when...
Let's look at the root of the word tyrant. If people think I'm overhyping the word tyranny. It comes from the Latin, I believe, or the Greek, which means a Lord Sovereign Master. Can anyone listening to this show honestly say that Obama's imperiousness, his abuse of power, his abuse of the taxpayer, the way he railroads people with policies, the way he threatened the Supreme Court, the way he passed the National Defense Authorization Act while you celebrated on New Year's Eve. He stole your civil rights with one act. The man has passed more executive orders than any president in history in the amount of time he's been in power. When he came to power, he said he would not abuse it. He's abused it. The tyrant, the word tyrant comes from the Greek meaning a Lord Sovereign Master. I think it applies to President Obama. But my fears are that he hasn't even gotten started yet. And he's biding his time in the sense that he's more or less a lame duck president right now until the election. If, God forbid, people are tricked by him again in the Democrat socialist machine, and he has absolute power for 4 more years, what is to stop this young, virile man from declaring term limits over. Tell me why he couldn't do that with an executive order.
You're exactly right. And Michael, you're pointing out the executive orders. Think about this. He's end-run Congress so many times through executive orders, bureaucratic fiat, through the agencies like the EPA. And then how many times has he slammed into the judiciary?
Now that the liberals run the media, they have a powerful blacklist, even more powerful than McCarthy had in the 1950s. And yet, the people who know what's going on have rushed out to buy the book Trickle-Down Tyranny. They need some document, they need something in their hands that they can show friends and neighbors to try and save the country before the next election. And Monica, to me, it's my last nonfiction book.
It was helpful to be able to describe those visions. I saw the president's vision as trickle-down government, and I don't think that's what America believes in.
People will decide what kind of America they want. Congressman Ryan, you're up next. There have been a lot of controversial statements. I'll show the tape in a little bit, but to save a little bit of time, in recent weeks, Joe Biden has said that the middle class the last 4 years has been buried, and today he went out there and said he's going to raise us. The reaction? Well, he was half right. It's about $2 trillion, but, every now and then, he's a little candid. He drops the veil and he speaks with candor. And yeah, the middle class has been buried over the last 4 years. He's right when he said that. Yes, they're proposing a massive tax increase. And 2 years ago, when they said that this tax increase was going to do that economy, the economy's growing slower today than when they said that. So they don't have a record to run on. This is why they're running the kind of campaign they're running. What I'm excited, Sean, is last night, the American people got to see the guy I know. A decisive, optimistic, confident leader. A person with a plan to create jobs, grow the economy. That's what the country saw. So
What's your heartbreak? Viewers, CNN viewers overwhelmingly think that Romney won. Oh, no!
Registered voters who actually watched the debate tonight, we asked them who won the debate. Look at this. 67% say it was Mitt Romney, 25% say it was President Obama. A very, very decisive verdict. 45% said President Obama.
Oh, no. First the dam broke, and then they stuck the dagger in.
It was a knockout.
Poor Wolf. Everything blew up on him last night. And then resistance. Romney, the mean-spirited, cold-hearted, unfeeling, only cares about the rich, outsources jobs, doesn't care that people are starving, was more likable than Obama. Oh, no! How did it happen?
Oh no, Mr. Wolf!
And then you throw on top of that Obama didn't even care. They didn't act like he cared. He didn't show up. And these people in the media are saying to themselves, what the hell are we doing this for? And by the way, even in this poll, I should tell you that you just heard Wolf cite, that CNN poll was oversampled by Democrats by 4%. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. That poll was had a Democrat sample of +4. I think, last night after that debate, you asked them, which candidate would you rather see on Dancing with the Stars? Romney would have won that one, too.
If you regard those people, the American flag's on fire all over the Middle East. The Al-Qaeda flag is being raised. Our ambassador to Libya is dead. And the New York Times tries to tell us that Obama has these guys on the run. What an absolute example of total media corruption.
Senior officials are increasingly convinced, however, the ferocious nature of the Benghazi attack, that's Libya, for those of you in Rielly, in which rocket-propelled grenades were used, indicated it was not the result of a spontaneous of innocents and Muslims. Patrick Kennedy, Undersecretary of State Department, said he was convinced the assault was planned due to its extensive nature and the proliferation of weapons. There were 400 people. And yet here's the president's spokesperson, no, one wasn't planned. So Carney's contradicting the Undersecretary of State. He's contradicting the UK Independent and other sources, quote, and there's the movie. Clearly, this guy's been told out there, go out there, and Jay, we don't care how bad it is, you tell them it's the movie. We don't care what you have to swallow, Jay, it's the film. That's the answer to every question. We do it a few little folks out there, and This answer. This would be like blaming Abu or Kodak. Is exactly what this is.
Yeah.
One more call, Ryan, before we go on a brief timeout and come back with your phone calls.
You say things like this, and our opponents will quickly accuse you of being, quote, anti-government. President Obama frames the debate this way, because here again, it's the only kind of debate he can win, against straw man arguments. No politician is more skilled at striking heroic poses against imaginary adversaries. Nobody is better at rebuking non-existent opinions. Barack Obama does this all the time. And in this campaign, we are going to call him on it. The president is given to lectures on all that we owe to government, as if anyone who opposes this reckless expansion of federal power is guilty of ingratitude and rank individualism. He treats private enterprise as little more than a revenue source for government.
I'll tell you, it was a home run all over the place. There were some really powerful things he said about this.
Consequences are catching up with us. To believe such destructive foolishness.
More Americans in the last 4 years on food stamps. That's 49 million Americans. Governor, I didn't know the statistic you brought up last night, but apparently 50% of college students are having a hard time getting their first job, and we've got $6 trillion in new Obama debt in 4 years. You told me once, Congressman, that we've got maybe 2 or 3 years before an economic calamity. Explain what you mean.
Yeah, that's what the experts have been coming to the budget committee for years saying, which is, if we keep staying on this path, we will have a debt crisis much like what engulfed in Europe. We've got to get off this path. Folks are planning to get us off this path. President Obama doubling down in the same direction. So that's the problem, Sean. You can't keep spending money we don't have. We will have a debt crisis much like that in Europe. And they say we don't have that much time. So we have a window of opportunity. The next president will decide how this is determined. This man is put a plan out there to prevent that from happening. So we get this economy growing, we prevent a debt crisis, and we save those people who depend on these programs so much that they've been promised for that. That's what we did. And the country last night saw the choice that they get to make. All right, one last question.
Relax, Axel. It's all going according to plan. I will take over as the new leader. No, I don't think it's working, Obama. No. The founding fathers would roll over in their graves. This has been an honest report. Brought to you by Alex.